Hey guys, what is up? ArchAngel here, and I guess you could say this is somewhat of an impromptu video, but it kind of coincides quite nicely with the fact that I'm coming up to my 100th upload. I think this is actually going to be my 100th upload, so consider it a special time-lapse drawing video. I might not even put this into time-lapse, I might just annotate my way all the way through it. Basically, I'm just trying to get back into the swing of things. I've kind of done a little bit of a mock-up sketch here of that guy, that telekinetic guy from that little anime film that people always tend to go on about. Yep, you guessed it, that's Tetsuo Shima from Akira. And I'm just going to be diving in at the deep end using my G-Pen straight away. This may turn out to be a complete pile of crap, but I'm just getting back into the practice, you know, toughening up my hands again. So yeah, I'll try to build up some stamina in terms of, you know, my actual artistic ability. So yeah, like I said, I'm throwing myself in at the deep end and going straight in using the G-Pen, which is, well, as I found out last time, the last time I used this, it's notoriously difficult to use, and you know, it's definitely something you need to master. So, like I said, take this video and this drawing with a grain of salt. This isn't indicative of my my talent. This does not define how, you know, well or, you know, how well I can draw or can't draw. This is just a practice run, but you know, it kind of gives you a little bit of a taste. So let's get started anyway. I'm gonna dip this in my G-Pen. I'm forgetting even how far I should even dip this in the ink. By the way, the ink I'm using is Indian ink, so this might totally screw up because it's kind of Indian ink is kind of heavy on the paper. So I always start with the eyes. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this paper. Hands are still kind of shaky. But yeah, I've always liked using the G-Pens, even though it's been a heck of a long time since I've used it. Yeah, this paper is terrible, or maybe the G-Pen's just too sharp. I mean, it's kind of like using an ordinary pen, but you can kind of select like your level of thickness to use, you know, by pressing down and, you know, pretty hard or soft, depending on how thick you want the line. You know, I'm not saying I know Mark Crilly or anything. This is probably the first time ever I'm narrating a video, actually. So I'm going to try to get through this as quickly as possible. Yeah, it's kind of working out okay a little bit. Yeah, what should I really talk about? Probably my drawing. It's been a while since I've actually seen Akira. It's been a while since I've read the manga too. Probably last time I saw the film maybe was about maybe going on about 3 years now. So, and I haven't owned it for quite a while either. I originally had the film on DVD, but ended up selling it because I wanted to buy the Blu-ray, the Steelbook Blu-ray, which seems to have gone out of print. So that isn't going to be an option anymore, probably, unless I can find it for a good deal, you know, second hand. But the likelihood of that, you know, is kind of like hitting gold. Yeah, this is actually going pretty well. I would have thought I'd have been struggling by now. The lines aren't perfect, but usually with G-Pens, because these are used by professional artists. Anytime they make like a mistake, like smudge the ink or something, they'll edit it digitally. So it's never really an issue, you know, when making mistakes on the actual paper itself, because things usually get cleared up by the time they're ready to go to, you know, printing or anything like that. If you're a professional artist or anything like that. So I just like using the G-Pen because it gives me like a sense of authenticity. And I do like alternating between, you know, different line thicknesses. Usually if like a character is up close like this, it's like a full facial view, you know, you'll tend to make the lines a little bit thicker around, you know, like the cheeks and, you know, the more defined features like his, you know, his nose and his eyes, you know, that kind of thing. Whereas the features that define, you know, the shape of his face, like, you know, his cheekbones and these little areas around here, you know, like around the side of his eyes, you kind of do them in thinner lines because they just basically define his facial shape. That's just kind of things that I've learned by drawing for years, basically. one thing I'm kind of wary of when drawing with Indian ink is the fact that you know, it's wet for the most of the time. So I'm very self cautious as to not smudge it. So I don't want to, you know, get my hand over it or anything like that. You can see a little smudge there already from my finger just running through it. So I'm kind of at an odds as to how to angle myself, because drawing like this way, you have to kind of work around. You know, I'm kind of going against the pivot of my wrist, so it makes it quite uncomfortable and affects the actual line work. So I don't know exactly how much of this I'll get doing in this video. I'm hoping to get it just kind of finished in 20 minutes, because I don't want this video to be too long. Because I'm annotating it now, and not annotating it. Well, yeah, narrating it, I guess you could say. I want you guys to experience, you know, my thoughts and be aware of kind of what I'm thinking. This is the difficult part for me, because I'm so out of practice. You know, it's difficult for me to keep a very still hand. See already there, kind of screwed up the side of his head there. But that's not. There's no worries. I'm going to be adding in more sort of features around the side of his face. You know, because it's kind of at this point it's like mid transformation. When he's, you know, like at the apex of his power. If you've read the manga or, you know, watched the anime, which I do highly recommend the manga over the anime movie, as the manga goes in, you know, much more depth, and the characters, you know, progress much more deeply. Ooh, that wasn't a comfortable motion. But yeah, I've actually just recently subscribed to a channel called White Manga, and he's kind of got me back into you know, the need to want to start drawing. The only reason why I got back out of drawing was because I was focusing on my my university studies. Ironically, I study art, but the project that I was working on didn't include any sort of line drawing or anything like that. It was mostly over conceptualized, you know, process art and things like that, which, you know, I had no room for making doodly sketches or anything like that, you know, unfortunately. So, but you know, that's just the line of inquiry that I took. You know, I don't really regret it. You know, it was fun while it lasted. But now that university is over, and I'm kind of juggling around all this free time, while I get more hours at work and things like that. Yeah, I don't just want to be sat around doing nothing. I want to be kind of, you know, getting out and about. In fact, I want to go to a few cons this summer as well. Well, not this summer. This autumn, going into going into winter. You know, I'd love to go to the Comic-Con. I believe that's coming up in October. Is it? I think I was down in London too. I have to save up some money for that. So, unfortunately, and probably fortunate enough for my wallet, I won't be picking up that much manga and anime if I'm going to be saving, you know, to go to a con. Because one of the biggest reasons why I want to get to a con is because I want to meet people in the industry. You know, I want to be meeting, you know, people who deal with anime and manga distribution, or, you know, guest appearances from like voice actors or, you know, producers or anything like that. You know, that's one thing I've always wanted to really do. Yeah, this paper isn't really working for me. I think I'm going to need to invest in some actual comic book paper, because the paper seems to be absorbing the ink, which is not really that great. Yeah, probably going to need to invest in some actual professional paper. And it's probably due to the fact that I'm probably being a little bit too heavy-handed with this pen as well, because it is something to master, most certainly. But, you know, at least I've got a likeness for him. You know, at least it looks like Tetsuo. You know, I'm pretty satisfied with that. I'm just making sure not to what's the word I'm looking for? Smudge the ink. Usually, this is mostly due to the fact that I'm recording. Usually I'd be like, you know, kind of moving the page around and, you know, coming in at this angle and stuff like that, but, you know, I want you guys to be able to, you know, fully experience it, you know, without having to tilt your heads or anything like that, or, you know, at funny angles. So I'm kind of sacrificing my my own comfortability here for you guys, you know, hopefully appreciate that. Like I said, I'm probably not going to link all of this in one video. This is just a kind of like brief chat where I kind of discuss like my feelings towards where I am now in my channel, and how I feel about getting back into drawing and art and stuff like that, because that was going to be one of the main features of my channel, time-lapse drawings, but I just kind of got out of it. I'm still aware that I have a few more requests to fulfill, namely some of the people who are still subscribed to me now, and I will definitely get on them in due time, but just keep my word to it. You will get your drawings, whether in this life or the next. No, I'm joking. Yeah, I do more than plan on getting back into drawing. So this is a good opportunity. While I've got free time, get back into the practice again. Even though I'm very out of practice. See, my hand just doesn't seem to be gliding on the paper like it used to, and that's just when you haven't drawn for so long, like you'll still have the talent to draw, because once you learn about like human anatomy and placement and sort of mathematical proportions and things like that of the face, those are things that just don't really go away, but the actual execution of putting that into play is another thing. You can get rusty on them skills. It's kind of like you'll learn how to ride a bike, but like the stunts that you'll learn, you'll get rusty at them, but you can still ride the bike. Kind of like that. I've kind of screwed up the hair at the top here because this is just like a really quick sketch I did in like the last half hour. So forgive me if this isn't unbelievably stunning. Yeah, really coming in at an awkward angle here. This isn't really how you're supposed to use the pen. Really, I should be kind of stood up. Yeah, I'm probably going to stand up and come around this way. There we go. Yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's a little bit better, but like I said, I'm really not a fan of this paper. It's really screwing up my lines, and due to the fact that I'm way out of practice, there's no really excuse. I'm excusing myself a lot here, which is not something I should be doing. Alright, I think that's enough for the G pen, because I want to add in a few detail around like his hairline and things like that, so I'm probably going to break out the old drawing pens. Bear with me a second. I think most of these lines are pretty dry by now. Maybe I can start rubbing a few of the pencil marks out. Yeah, just a couple. Just so I get an idea of what I've actually inked over. I'll rub all the detail around his eyes. So I really don't like using rubbers, especially when I've inked over a sketch already. I prefer to sometimes, especially if I'm watercolouring over it or colouring over it, I prefer not to rub out the pencil, if it's not too noticeable, but because I've done a lot of like guideline pencil marks and things like that, kind of unavoidable. It's too messy, I can't just leave it there. So yeah, I'm going to come in with the, where's my tiny one? Let's use small. So I'm just kind of winging this. I don't have actually any reference material, because the picture itself I did copy from the manga, just really quickly, but with all like the kind of detail that's supposed to be on the side of his face, I just kind of left that, and I'd rather just put in kind of my own. So let's kind of start off with because the kind of like cracks on his face, but at the same time they've kind of got like a computerized sort of it's kind of like a motherboard almost, because a lot of the parts that he merges with himself are you know, like metal parts, like scrap metal and things like that. So you know, the dude seems to be like kind of deteriorating when, you know, cracking away his face, but in like a sort of it's weird, like an angular sort of cracked way, you know, like it's, I don't know, it's really weird to describe, but you know, the more I draw, the more you'll see, because I'm you know, pretty bad at describing things, I guess. But yeah, I've always loved Tetsuo. He's a really cool character. I absolutely loved his transformation. Akira is probably one of my all-time favourite films. Yeah, put some more up in his forehead as well. Yeah. So you can kind of get an idea. It's kind of like a robotic sort of metal breaking apart. It's a really cool effect. You know, totally like major cyberpunk. One artist who I would compare Katsuhiro Otomo to, who was the original author of Akira, is Shirow Masamune. They're both kind of pretty much in the same vein. You know, they were working and making waves in the industry, you know, at the same time. You know, with like works like Appleseed and Ghost in the Shell. You know, kind of like the late 80s, like early 90s. You know, that kind of era. Yeah, if you want a good cyberpunk to read, definitely read works by those two artists. And if there's something, you know, similar that I haven't read yet, or you know, you think I would enjoy, then, you know, you're more than welcome to recommend something to me as well. You know, I love experimenting with new things, new manga, new stuff to read, you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah. What I kind of like about this drawing as well, you know, with all the detailing, like his face deteriorating, is that you don't really have to follow the contour of his face, because you know, it is kind of beyond human at this point. It's almost like it's just a creature. You know, if you've seen the film or you've read the manga, then you know how devastating his transformation is. I'm gonna break out the brush pen right now to kind of do a bit of detail on his hair. Yeah. Ooh. I think looks like I need some practice with this too. Kind of, sorry if you can't see this, guys. I'll get my hand out of the way in a second. I'll do the shade under his chin as well. That's what I like about using these pens. You know, it's all well and good using the G pen, but when you want to do details like shade and things like that, you know, it's not really too convenient, because, you know, you have to kind of keep dipping your pen in the ink and things like that, and it just kind of gets a little bit tedious. So sometimes I like kind of alternating between pens. Like I'll get out my my mammoth thick pen here and start doing some details, you know, in his hair and stuff like that. So completely forgotten how to draw hair, so I'm kind of just winging it right now. By no way is this up to the standard of Katsuhiro Otomo. You know, this is literally just a quick sketch. If I was gonna, you know, draw something like really seriously, then, you know, I would take, you know, at least a few hours on the sketch alone, making sure I've got every single, you know, detail correct. You know, every single hair and proportion, you know, thing, you know, all measured to perfection. But I'm just kind of masking out and marking out the hairline right now, so as to not, you know, like I'll have the hairline up here on, you know, on like this side of his face, and I don't want like to have the hairline starting like around here on this side of his face, because it'll just make it look all out of proportion. And once I get like you know, once a drawing goes wrong for me like that, I'm kind of impatient. I'll just kind of rip it up. You know, it's kind of immature, but, you know, I'm a real perfectionist when it comes to my art, even though I haven't drawn for so long. That's probably one of the biggest reasons why, you know, I've put it down for so long, because I've known that I was out of practice, and you know, kind of being almost scared to confront the fact that I was getting out of practice, and I would have to, you know, kind of relearn certain things and certain tools and methods of, you know, creating a drawing. It's just frustrating, you know, like when you get to a certain standard of drawing, and you know, you're really satisfied with yourself, and then you don't draw for a while, and then you have to like relearn certain skills, and it's just like, but this is how I used to be able to draw, you know, why can't I do it now, that kind of thing. And yeah, it just gets frustrating. But you know, they're just minor temporal things that, you know, in the long run, you know, don't really matter, because they're always skills that you can boost. And you know, like, this isn't a perfect picture by any means, but well, it's serving its purpose. Okay, I think we're already in 20 minutes now, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Like I said, I'm not gonna sort of flesh out the entire drawing. You know, this is basically just a little discussion video, really, just to kind of tell you guys my thoughts on, you know, where I am at now, things I'm gonna be involving myself in, you know, my channel. Like that's another thing. Keep your eyes out for Tezuka season, guys. I've mentioned in I think my previous video and like on Twitter and things like that. I'm going to be reading through all of my my Tezuka manga, reviewing it all, you know, just the whole shebang, because you know, I am very much neglecting the Tezuka manga that's in my collection, for the fact that it hasn't been read yet, most of it. The only two Tezuka manga that I've reviewed are Apollo's Song and one of my first reviews on this channel, which is The Book of Human Insects. I think that was my second review on this channel, actually. So we're going back a while now. It's like over a year ago now, so I'm going to pull my thumb out. Let's get all this. See, that's another reason why I don't like using a rubber, especially on paper like this, is for the fact that once you start rubbing stuff out, if you rub too hard, then it actually tears the paper, as you can see there at the top. I don't know if that shows up. You can actually, you know, I'm not really bothered about this drawing, but you can kind of see, you know, bits tearing off. So that's why it's good to invest in good quality paper, guys. You know, always check the weight of your paper. It's always measured in like grams per square inch. And I think you want to go for the heavier paper when it comes to, you know, using inks and things like that. Also take into account the kind of ink you use as well, because Indian ink is really hard. Not really hard, sorry, really heavy. And is highly, you know, highly. The paper can basically absorb it really easily because it's got high water content. But yeah, I think that's turned out alright, you know. Nothing like Katsuhiro Otomo himself, but yeah, I don't know when I'll be doing like another drawing video. You know, I'm kind of at a loose end, I guess you could say, as to, you know, where to start. Obviously, I probably should start with some of the requests, but before I start with the request, I would like to actually boost my skills a little bit, so I can, you know, at least get to the level where I was when I was, you know, when I did my my Heisenberg time-lapse drawing, which, you know, actually took me a few days. You know, because the recording process was tedious as hell. But yeah, tell me what you think, guys. I know it's nothing perfect. But yeah, this is my 100th upload. You know, yay me. So yeah, until then, guys. Hope you've enjoyed. You know, I hope the sound has been all right. So yeah, have a good day, guys, and I shall catch you again.